My friends sided with my cheating fiancé, so I evicted them and watched their lives crumble. Hi, I'm Nick. I'm 32. And 2 weeks ago, I caught my fiancé cheating, in our bed, with a coworker I introduced her to, and then got told by my closest friends that I was overreacting. So, I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I evicted 2 of them from my rental, changed the beach house locks, and cut every last one out of my life. Now they're panicking, crying to my mother, and living 4 deep in a 1-bedroom apartment. Let's rewind. My whole life I've been the reliable one. You know the type. Quiet. Always the designated driver. The guy who gets calls at 2 a.m. for rides or bailouts or backup plans. I never minded it. I like helping people. I'm a software engineer, not flashy, but stable. Made some smart investments early. When my grandmother passed, she left me her house. I renovated it, rented it out cheap to 2 friends. Then my grandfather left me a modest beach house. 3 beds, 40 minutes from the city, nothing wild, but everyone loved it. It became the spot for barbecues, holiday weekends, bad decisions, good memories. My fiancée, Lena, and I had been together 4 years. Engaged for 8 months. The wedding was set for June. She moved into my apartment 2 years ago. Everything was normal. Or so I thought. 3 weeks ago, I came home early from a work trip. Flight change. Thought I'd surprise her. Maybe grab dinner, watch a movie. I stepped inside and instantly heard noises. You know the kind. Laughter. Moaning. The kind that makes your heart stop. I opened the bedroom door, and there she was. With Derek. My coworker. The same one I introduced her to at the company Christmas party. She screamed. He bolted for his clothes like a cartoon character. I didn't yell. Didn't throw anything. Just stood there, like my soul had hit the emergency brakes and I was watching someone else's life. She gave me the classics. It's not what it looks like. I was drunk. Please let me explain. I told them both to get out. Gave her 1 hour to pack a bag. She cried the whole time. I sat on the couch. Staring. Numb. She moved in with her best friend, who also happened to be part of our core friend group. I figured I'd get support. I figured wrong. Within 48 hours, I started getting texts. Not of concern, lectures. Dude, it was one mistake. She's devastated. You should talk. Relationships take work. Don't throw it all away. Honestly? You're kind of overreacting. That one stuck. Overreacting. To catching my fiancé cheating in our home. In our bed. With a guy I brought into her life. These were people I'd known since college. Guys who'd borrowed money. Stayed at the beach house for free. People who showed up empty-handed to potlucks and left with leftovers. People I thought were my family. And they sided with her. I didn't respond. Just sent one message. Appreciate everyone's thoughts. I need time. What I actually did was call my property manager the next morning. Told her to start formal eviction on the 2 guys in my rental, the same ones texting me about how I should forgive Lena. Then I drove to the beach house and changed every lock. Gate code. Deadbolt. Even the garage keypad. Last thing I did? I left the group chat. Then I blocked all of them. No explanation. No dramatics. Just silence. They'd made their choice. So had I. The fallout started fast. I expected a few angry texts, maybe a guilt trip or 2. What I didn't expect was the full-scale meltdown that followed. By Tuesday, eviction notices had landed in the mailboxes of my 2 tenant friends. They had 30 days to vacate. Everything was by the book, month-to-month lease, fair notice, no drama. At least, not from me. Wednesday night my mom called. Honey, she said, already exasperated. Why is Marwan calling me in tears about being kicked out? Because I'm evicting him. What? Why? I explained calmly, everything. The cheating. The betrayal. The group chat. The lack of support. Mom went quiet for a beat. Then she said, Good. You don't need people like that in your life. But you better brace yourself. Apparently they're trying to reach you through anyone they can think of. No kidding. By Thursday, my sister texted me. Hey, weird question, but did you kick out Neru and Marwan? His girlfriend just DM'd me. Said they're worried about you. Said you're having a breakdown? Yeah. My breakdown apparently looked a lot like setting boundaries. Friday, it got even better. A coworker, one with zero connection to any of this, pulled me aside in the office kitchen. Dude, weird thing. Someone matching Marwan's description was at the coffee shop near the building, asking around about you. Saturday morning, they showed up at my front door. I kid you not. I looked through the peephole. Lena, Marwan, Neru, and 2 more of the ex-friend group, all standing on my stoop like some intervention scene from a bad TV movie. I didn't open the door. Just spoke through it. What do you want? Lena's voice, shaky. Please, we just want to talk. This has gone too far. I have nothing to say. Dude, Marwan jumped in. You're kicking us out over this? You picked a cheater over a friend of 12 years. It's not about sides, man. Neru added. We just thought you should hear her out before destroying your life. I nearly laughed. My life's not destroyed. Yours just got inconvenient. One of the others spoke up. What about the beach house? We were supposed to go down for Labor Day weekend. The code doesn't work. I changed it. You're no longer welcome. Dead silence. Then the panic started. You can't do that. We already bought groceries. Over one mistake? That was Lena, finally finding her voice again. It was one time. I was drunk. Things between us were weird. I didn't. I don't care why you did it. You did it. And none of you cared what I needed. You just wanted to keep your access. Then Marwan, shifting gears like a guy trying to resell a car he already crashed. Okay. Look. About the house. We'll pay more. Market rate. Whatever. I smiled behind the door. It's no longer available for rent. You're selling it? Sure. I lied. Why not? Panic faces. I could see them through the peephole. Neru looked like someone had just unplugged his Xbox mid-game. You're selling it just to spite us. No. I'm selling it because I can. Then came the guilt trips. The threats. Even Lena screaming. You're going to die alone, you know that? No one will ever love someone this cold. Honestly? It was the best coffee I'd had in weeks. Day 30 came fast. The official move-out date for my former tenants, and surprise, they didn't go quietly. On day 28, Marwan texted my property manager claiming tenants' rights, and insisted they couldn't be evicted without a court order. She calmly explained again that their lease was month to month, that they'd been given proper legal notice, and that if they refused to vacate, we'd begin formal eviction proceedings. Proceedings that would follow them on every rental application for the next 7 years. Magically, they managed to leave by day 30. Barely. Word is they moved into Neru's girlfriend's 1-bedroom apartment. 4 adults. 1 bathroom. A place meant for 2, max rent? $1,900 a month. Split 4 ways. No yard. No dishwasher. No privacy. You remember how I was charging them $1,100 total for a 3-bedroom house with a backyard? Yeah. But it gets better. See, while they were fumbling over where to live, 3 other people from the old group were scrambling because of one small detail they'd all conveniently forgotten. The beach house was never theirs. One had already sent out birthday invitations. Another had told his parents they were hosting Thanksgiving there. No heads up. No request. They just assumed it was their turn. So when they discovered the gate code no longer worked, they lost it. And one of them, someone I haven't named yet because honestly, I forgot he existed until this moment, drove down at 2 a.m. and tried to break in. How do I know? Ring camera. Footage showed him trying the front door, then the windows, then creeping around the back like a Scooby-Doo villain. I saved the video, of course. Just in case. At this point, the desperation turned feral. They started reaching out to my extended family. My aunt called, completely confused. Nick, some friend of yours says there's been a misunderstanding about a beach house. There's no misunderstanding. I told her. They backed the wrong person. They're out of my life. Even my coworker, the uninvolved one, said someone had approached him again. They're asking if you're mentally unstable, he said with a half grin. I told them no. Just done being a doormat. And just when I thought we'd reached peak ridiculous, I got an email. Not from Lena. From her mom. 4 paragraphs. All about forgiveness. About how holding on to anger is like drinking poison. About how her daughter made a mistake. And I was destroying so many lives over one moment of weakness. I didn't respond. Because what would I even say? The woman knew me for 2 holiday dinners and somehow decided I owed her daughter, and her freeloading friends, access to my life, my properties, and my peace. But here's the real twist. The final straw? An actual, physical letter, hand-delivered to my apartment. 8 pages. Front and back. From Lena. Highlights included. Derek pursued me, not the other way around. You've been emotionally distant for months. Because I was paying bills and planning our wedding? You care more about property than people. You're ruining our friend group's lives. And my personal favorite? I'm going to tell everyone what kind of person you really are. Like, okay? Please do. I'd love to hear your version of events where you're the tragic heroine who got caught mid-affair and still deserves a rental discount and oceanside access. I shredded the letter. But you know what? I wasn't angry anymore. The fury was gone. The heartbreak? Processed. All that was left was clarity. For 10 years, I was the guy with the beach house. The guy with the spare bed. The guy who showed up for everyone and got crumbs in return. And now? Now they get nothing. 6 weeks later, everything had collapsed. For them, not me. Let's start with Marwan and Neru, my former tenants lifelong bros, now professional couch surfers. Turns out living 4 deep in a 1-bedroom apartment with 1 bathroom and 0 personal space. Not a sustainable vibe. They lasted 3 weeks. Then Neru's girlfriend, the one who took them in out of pity or desperation, not sure, booted them both after a screaming match about dishes, or rent, or someone eating her leftovers. Unclear. The details were fuzzy, but the eviction was swift. Marwan moved back in with his parents. He's 34. Neru ended up in an extended stay motel that charges $700 a week and has vending machines for dinner options. I'm told he's splitting the cost with a new roommate who apparently talks in his sleep and vapes indoors. Meanwhile, the beach house chaos only escalated. See, 3 of the old crew had plans: birthday parties, friendsgiving, a wellness retreat. That was code for a 3-day beer-fueled brocation. They'd invited guests. Send out invites. One guy even told his boss he was hosting at his buddy's beach house. Imagine his face when he showed up. Key didn't work, and the Ring camera caught him trying to climb over the side gate. In khakis. After the break-in attempt, I lawyered up, just to be safe. My attorney laughed for a full minute when I explained the situation, then sent a very sharp cease and desist to the guy who tried to claim implied access rights to my property. Fun legal fact: there's no such thing. The message? You don't live here. You don't rent here. You don't get to scale my fence like it's Ninja Warrior. Silence followed. But that didn't stop the next wave: reputation warfare. Lena's mom sent another email about the Christian path to reconciliation. Marwan tried to go through my cousin, texting him. Nick's always had control issues. We just want him to come back to earth. One of the girls from the old group DM'd my ex from 4 years ago, asking if I'd always been a little unhinged. Oh, and Lena? She went full novella. 8 more pages. New tone. Now it was sorrowful. You were my home. I messed up one time. Why does that have to cost me everything? She ended with, I hope you find happiness. She underlined hope twice. But here's the part none of them got, not one. I did find happiness. Not in revenge. Not in their misery. In the silence. No more late-night text asking to crash for the weekend. No more beach house requests. No more being the friend with the house, the car, the money, the always-open calendar. I listed the rental at market rate. Within a week, a young couple with a newborn applied. Sweetest people I've ever met. They cried when they saw the backyard. I spent my first solo weekend at the beach house with a book and a thermos of coffee. Just me. No demands. No mess. No people who only loved me when I was useful. Just quiet. And let me tell you, it's addictive. You know what happens when you finally choose peace? The people who thrived in your chaos suddenly don't know what to do with themselves. With the eviction clock officially expired, the beach house sealed, and every one of their emotional manipulation tactics dead on arrival, my ex-friends started doing what all entitled people do when the free ride ends: flail. But not in private. Oh no. This became a campaign. Julia, not Lena, but one of her close friends who'd always hovered at the edges of our group like an unpaid PR rep, started posting cryptic stories on Instagram. When money makes you cruel, Some people care more about locks than love. Meanwhile, Kyle, Marwan's cousin and the kind of guy who once stole a tip jar because cash just sitting there is a trap, went even further. He posted a meme of a man locking a door labeled family, with the caption, "If you need a D to feel powerful, you were never loved." I laughed. Out loud. While making pancakes. Meanwhile, Lena tried one last attempt at rewriting the narrative. She sent a payment request. Through Venmo. For $782. The note? Emotional damages. Therapy invoice attached. Spoiler, there was no attachment. I denied the request. Then screenshotted it. Then printed it out and stuck it to the fridge like a preschool finger painting titled Entitlement in Action. And just when I thought it couldn't get more ridiculous, a cousin I barely speak to texted me. "Hey, your ex says there's been a misunderstanding about a house? Bro, you haven't spoken to me since 2018. Please." But that's the thing about removing yourself from a toxic ecosystem. Once you're out, everything starts looking like the circus it always was, only now you're not in the tent. You're outside. Holding popcorn. Watching clowns trip over their own lies. I finally responded to one person, my sister, Rachel. She'd stayed silent through all this. No texts, no sides, just distance. But she reached out the old-fashioned way. Sent me a physical card. Inside it just said, "You did the right thing. Proud of you. Let me know when you want to talk." I stared at that card for a long time. And then I called her. We talked for 3 hours. Laughed. Vented. She told me she'd stopped hanging out with Lena and the others months ago, said it always felt like high school with money. She never understood what I saw in them. Neither do I now. The next weekend, Rachel and her partner came to the beach house. Brought real food, not just beer and expectations. We played board games. Watched the sunset. No drama. No noise. Just family. The real kind. When they left, I locked the gate behind them. Not because I didn't trust them, but because I could. Because now, every lock I changed feels like a door I opened somewhere else. The group chat I left behind? Imploded. Apparently, after I nuked my participation, the rest of them turned on each other faster than raccoons in a dumpster fire. I found out through a mutual, Melissa, who used to date Neru. She's since escaped that orbit and reached out to me with the digital equivalent of popcorn. "Just so you know," she texted, "your absence broke the ecosystem." Kyle called Lena manipulative. Lena called Marwan a coward. Marwan blamed Nera for losing the house. And Julia tried to start a new group chat and only added herself. She sent me a screenshot of the chat name. True friends only. No one joined. Meanwhile, I kept doing what they never thought I'd do, move on. The rental house? Fully leased. The new tenants, Sarah and James, are lovely. First-time parents with a baby that makes a weird honking sound when she sneezes. They brought me fresh-baked muffins the day they moved in and texted me updates when they fixed up the flower beds. "You have no idea how much this place means to us," Sarah said. "We've been applying for months and kept getting rejected." I almost told her that the last tenants thought they owned the place by spiritual right. But I just smiled and said, "Glad it worked out." The beach house? I've started enjoying it again. Spent an entire Saturday there fixing a loose screen door and replacing some outdoor lights, stuff I used to ignore because someone was always there, leaving a mess, blasting music, inviting strangers to my place like it was some hostel for entitled freeloaders. Now it's just me and the waves. And get this, I read. Like actual books. Not PDFs, not project decks, not Reddit threads about betrayal. Just fiction. A novel. No cheating. No beach houses. Just dragons and war and a magic sword. You know, peace. But even in the quiet, their noise found cracks. Lena's last-ditch effort came in the form of a carefully curated apology via, wait for it, a mutual acquaintance. She couldn't even do it herself. She had a friend deliver it like it was a Hallmark hostage note. "She says she still loves you," the friend told me. "That it was a mistake. That you meant more to her than anything else." I asked one question. "Did she say she's sorry for trying to gaslight me after cheating in my bed?" The girl blinked. She said she regrets how it ended." I laughed. "How it ended? That's the thing with people like Lena and the rest of them, they don't regret the act. They regret the consequences. They regret getting caught. They regret losing access. They regret that the guy with the house, the property, the patience, finally learned how to say no. And I've gotten really, really good at saying no. No, you can't stay. No, I don't want to talk. No, I'm not opening the door, or the group chat. Boundaries aren't mean. They're math. And right now, the math says I'm better off without a single one of them. Let's talk about karma. Because around week 7, it showed up, not with fanfare or fireworks, but with a petty, poetic thud. Kyle tried to sue me. Yeah. You read that right? He sent a letter, handwritten, scanned, and emailed from what I can only assume was a FedEx near his motel. In it, he claimed I had violated an oral agreement of shared usage of the beach house. His argument? That because he'd consistently enjoyed access to the property, and because I'd never explicitly told him not to plan holidays there, I was legally obligated to continue granting him permission to use it. This man tried to legally claim a vibe. My lawyer, bless her, replied with a 4-sentence email and an attached Ring video of Kyle trying to pry open a screen door at 2:14 a.m. That was the end of the legal saga. But the spiral continued. Marwan, meanwhile, had posted a 1,200-word Reddit thread about me. Didn't use my name, but the details were too specific to be coincidence. Friend of 12 years ghosted us after his breakup, kicked us out of our rental, changed the beach house locks, and blocked the entire group. No warning. Just went full villain. Am I the a-hole? The comments? Brutal. Turns out, when you air your grievances to strangers on the internet and leave out the part where you defended someone's cheating fiancé, people tend to ask questions. My favorite response? So, you were paying below market rent, had unlimited beach access, and sided with a cheater? Bro, you didn't lose a friend. You lost a landlord with patience. Chef's kiss. Even better? Someone linked the thread to an old beach selfie Marwan had posted on his public Instagram. A picture of him holding a beer on my deck with the caption, "My second home." Yeah. Not anymore. By now, even the mutuals had started distancing themselves. Melissa stopped replying in the group chat. Lena's best friend unfollowed her on everything. Even Nara's little brother, who once crashed at the beach house after a bad breakup, messaged me to say, "For what it's worth, you did the right thing. I wish I had your backbone." That one hit different. And still, silence from Lena. No new letters. No more third-party messages. Just digital ghosts and fading stories. But I know how this works. It's not over for them. They'll keep recycling the story, shifting the blame, rebranding the breakup like a failed startup. But for me, I was finally done. Because here's the truth no one tells you. It's not the betrayal that breaks you. It's the realization that none of them ever had your back. And once you see that, you don't unsee it. You upgrade. It's strange how the world keeps spinning after you burn a whole chapter of your life to the ground. No dramatic music. No thunder. Just quiet. And in that quiet, you find out who you are without the noise. I'm not the guy who hosts barbecues anymore. Not the one who always covers the tab, or offers up his couch, or keeps the beach house stocked. Just in case someone needs a break. I'm Nick. 32. Software engineer. Owner of 2 properties. Maker of good coffee and even better decisions, now. And for the first time in years, I'm building something that has nothing to do with anyone else. Let me show you what I mean. I started painting. That's not a metaphor. Actual painting. I bought cheap canvases and basic acrylics, set up in the beach house sunroom, and started messing around. Landscapes at first. Then weird abstract stuff. Nothing good. Nothing I'd ever hang. But it felt like healing. Like reclaiming a space that had been loud and chaotic and full of other people's expectations. One weekend, I painted the ocean as I saw it. Not how it looks, but how it feels, sharp, endless, complicated. I texted a photo of it to Rachel. She said it looked like peace with an undercurrent of, "Don't test me." Perfect. I also started a journal, just for me. Nothing dramatic, no revenge poetry. Just a log of small victories. First quiet weekend. First dinner cooked at the rental for new tenants. First night I slept through without dreaming of her voice saying, "You're going to die alone." Spoiler, I didn't die. I made pasta and watched a thunderstorm roll in from the deck. Alone, yes. But at peace? Absolutely. The calls and messages dried up. Marwan hasn't tried again. Nara deleted his social media. Kyle, last I heard, is now working part-time for his uncle's landscaping company and still talking about legal options to anyone who'll listen at the dive bar he frequents. Lena? She's dating someone new. Or maybe two someones. Mutual friends can't help themselves. They keep trying to slip her updates into conversation like it's a test. I always say the same thing. She's free to live however she wants. Just not here. They never have a comeback for that. Because boundaries confuse people who relied on your lack of them. And here's the kicker, I'm not even bitter. I'm grateful. Lena cheating? That was the spark. My friends defending her? That was the gasoline. But me walking away, that was the fire that finally cleared the wreckage I kept calling community. And now? Now I'm growing things in the ash. You ever realize how loud your life used to be only after it finally goes quiet? That's what hit me the first time I stayed at the beach house with no guests, no messages, and no mental fog. Just the hum of the fridge, the clink of ice in a glass, and the waves folding into the shore like they were finally mine again. It's funny. For years I thought I loved that house because it made other people happy. But it turns out, I just never gave myself permission to love it for me. Now? It's not a clubhouse. Not a backup plan. It's home base. Mine. And the old crew? They became ghosts. People still try to bring them up sometimes. Oh man, remember that one party Kyle threw here? Nope. Never happened. No, Kyle. This is Kyle-proof property now. Oh, that group trip we planned for Memorial Day. Didn't happen. The only group I'm planning for now is me, myself, and Spotify. I don't owe anyone nostalgia. That beach house, and the rental, and my time, and my peace, aren't community property just because I used to be bad at saying no. And my God, I was so bad at saying no. It wasn't about being weak. It was about wanting to be wanted. Valued. Useful. But people who only see your value when you're giving them things? They don't value you. They value the benefits package. Once I canceled the benefits, their love dried up faster than a text left on read. That realization? It didn't make me sad. It made me free. I started hosting again, intentionally. A coworker and his wife came for a Sunday lunch. Real guests. They brought a pie. Washed their dishes. Said thank you. We watched the sunset, and they left without assuming it was okay to crash for 3 days and invite 3 of their friends. Later, I texted Rachel a picture of the cleaned-up table. She replied, "Looks like family." Exactly. And here's something else, I'm dating again. Nothing serious. No pressure. Just someone I met at a bookstore of all places. Her name's Naomi. She asked what I do, and when I said, "I used to be a doormat," she laughed so hard she snorted. We've had 3 dates. All low-key. All honest. I told her about the beach house. Not the drama, not the mess, just the view. She said, "You should take me there sometime." And you know what I said? "Maybe. When I know you're not the kind of person who'll try to change the locks on me." She grinned. Fair. We'll see where it goes. And if it doesn't? That's okay. Because I'm not building a life that needs saving anymore. I'm building one that stands with or without anyone else's permission. The foundation's mine. So is the view. It happened last week. I was standing in the kitchen of the beach house, barefoot, drinking tea out of the ridiculous world's okayest engineer mug my sister got me, when I heard a knock. Not the doorbell. A knock. Like someone knew I'd changed the system. I peeked out. Lena. Alone. No fanfare. No backup squad. No passive-aggressive entourage. Just her, holding a folder and something that looked like a sad grocery store bouquet. I opened the door halfway. "You lost?" She smiled weak. "Not today." I didn't invite her in. I stepped out, closed the door behind me, and crossed my arms. "What's up?" She held up the folder. "Paperwork. I officially removed myself from the wedding venue contract. Your name's off everything. Thought you should have it." I took it, flipped through. It was legit. Then the kicker. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. No defense. No excuses. You were good to me. I was selfish. And I let people take from you because it benefited me too." It was the most honest thing she's ever said. But I didn't react. Because here's the truth, I already forgave her. Not for her. For me. You can't hold a grudge with someone who lives in a chapter you've already closed. I just nodded. Thanks for dropping it off. She hesitated. Nick, I miss you. I shook my head. No. You miss who I used to be. She blinked. The guy who didn't say no. The guy who never put up a fight. The guy who let everyone else write the story and just kept turning the pages. Then I pointed to the door behind me. That guy doesn't live here anymore. She didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just looked away and said, I hope you're happy. I didn't answer right away. Then I said, I am. She nodded. Walked down the steps. Got in her car and drove off. No drama. No last-ditch speeches. Just closure. And the second the dust from her tires cleared the driveway, I unlocked the door, walked back inside, and finished my tea. Still warm. Still peaceful. Still mine. 2 days later, I got a text from someone I genuinely never expected to hear from again. Neru. One of the evicted duo. The guy who once said, she only cheated once, bro. Like that was supposed to be a coupon for forgiveness. The message? Hey man. I know I've got no right to ask, but could we talk? I stared at it for a while. Not because I was tempted, but because I was curious. Why now? Then, maybe because I was bored, maybe because I wanted to see what a desperate man sounds like when the music stops, I replied. I'm not interested in revisiting the past. If this is about the beach house, don't waste your time. He messaged back within seconds. It's not. I swear. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. And tell you were right. About all of us. That one actually made me pause. He went on. Long messages, spilling out like he'd been holding them in for months. I've been couch hopping since the eviction. Marwan's back with his mom. Lena's dating some DJ in Koreatown who already cheated on her. Kyle's off the radar. I think he's dodging some unpaid legal bills. I get it now. We took you for granted. All of us. Not just for the house, or the favors, but because you made life easy. You were the center, man. And we never said thank you. It was, weirdly sincere. And it didn't make me angry. It didn't make me feel triumphant either. It made me tired. Because I realized something, even their apologies still orbit me. Their guilt, their problems, their realization that I was the glue, still puts the pressure on me to respond, to comfort, to be the bigger person. And that version of me? Retired. I typed one final reply. I appreciate you saying that. I really do. But I'm not your glue anymore. I hope you find peace. Just not through me. Then I blocked the number. Not out of spite. Out of self-respect. The version of me who would have invited him over to talk? Who would have pulled out beer and old stories and let it all slide? That guy had a lifetime membership to a friendship club where no one paid dues, and he finally let it expire. And now? Now I protect my peace like a passport. I don't let just anyone hold it. The beach house got quiet again after that. And I mean really quiet. No knocks. No texts. No mutuals. Just checking in. No vague posts subtweeting me. It was like the collective tantrum finally burned itself out, and everyone involved hit the wall of realization at the same time. I was actually done. And I wasn't coming back. So life filled in the silence. I kept painting. Got slightly better, still not good, but now my trees look less like broccoli. Naomi came over one weekend and we painted together. She did a seagull in watercolor that somehow looked like it had emotions. She left it on the mantel. I didn't move it. We grilled fish. We slow danced barefoot in the living room with the windows open. She didn't ask for anything. She didn't want access. She just wanted to be there. And it felt honest. On Sunday morning, I got up early. Sat on the deck with my tea and that same stupid mug, and I thought about how different this all felt. A year ago, this house was everyone's house. A pit stop. A party pad. A place for people who never cleaned up after themselves, literally or emotionally. Now it's where I rest. And I mean really rest. No drama. No explaining. No internal monologue trying to preemptively soothe or accommodate anyone else's feelings. And here's what I've realized. The line between generosity and self-erasure is thin. I thought I was being kind. What I was actually doing was disappearing, inch by inch, favor by favor, until people only saw what I gave, not who I was. Now, I give nothing I don't want to give. And somehow, the people in my life now give back more than I ever expected. Rachel brings food when she visits. Naomi helps wash dishes without asking. Even Sarah and James, my new tenants, text to check in on me, not the Wi-Fi. It's weird, right? You spend your whole life thinking that being used means being loved. And then you meet a few people who treat your boundaries like respect, not rejection, and suddenly you can't go back. It's like discovering a door you didn't know existed. And once it opens, there's no version of you that wants to crawl back through the window again. A few nights ago, I got an email from an unknown address with the subject line, "I'm not asking for anything." I almost deleted it. But something told me to open it, maybe curiosity, maybe boredom, maybe some leftover compulsion to understand the people who blew up my life. It was from Julia. If you've forgotten her, that's okay. So have most people. She was one of the quieter satellites in the friend group. Not the loudest, not the worst, but always there, always subtly supporting the worst ideas, always chiming in just enough to avoid blame. Her email was short. No paragraphs. No manipulation. I read something about how the last person out of a broken system always thinks they were the least to blame. That's probably me. I never stood up for you. I never called Lena out. I laughed when the guys joked about you being dramatic. I'm not proud of it. I miss the house. But I miss being someone worth being invited even more. I'm not asking for anything. Just wanted to say it out loud to someone who deserved better. I hope you're well. I read it twice. Then I read it again, slower. And you know what? I believed her. Not because I want her back in my life. Not because I think she suddenly turned into a great person. But because it was the first message I've received that didn't try to claw something back. There was no hidden ask. No angle. Just honesty. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry, because I didn't need to. Not every apology needs an audience. Some things are just meant to land and sit and be. And that, I think, is what's changed the most. I don't feel the need to manage other people's closure anymore. It's not my job to be the redemption arc in someone else's screw-up saga. My only job? Stay solid. Stay grounded. Keep building a life that doesn't need performance reviews from people who think proximity equals permission. So I took a walk. Down the beach, toes in the sand, breeze at my back. There was a moment where I looked up and realized I hadn't thought about any of them, Lena, Marwan, Kyle, even Derek, in over a week. I'd finally reached the place where they didn't live in my head anymore. Not even as caution signs. They were just gone. And me? Still here. Still breathing easy. Still standing in the house they all thought they owned. I ran into Derek yesterday. Yeah. That Derek. The coworker turned homewrecker turned punchline. I was at a networking event for startups and tech-adjacent businesses, something I normally dodge, but Naomi convinced me to go because, quote, "You need to remember you're hot, smart, and not a recluse." So I showed up. Name tag. Button-down shirt I hadn't worn since before the betrayal. Smiled through awkward handshakes. Answered questions about some of the AI stuff we've been building. Ate weird tiny hors d'oeuvres on skewers. And then I saw him. Derek. By the bar. Same overconfident stance. Same "I belong here" energy. Except now it looked worn. Like a suit that used to fit but had been dry cleaned one too many times. He saw me too. You could feel the tension shift like the DJ scratched the record even though there wasn't a DJ. I braced for some smirk or half apology, or maybe even a cocky, "You look good, man." But instead, he walked over, slowly, and said, "Hey. I wasn't sure if I should come talk to you." I took a sip of my drink. "You shouldn't." He nodded. "Fair. Just wanted to say, I regret everything. Not because it tanked my reputation. Just because you were a decent guy. Better than me." I didn't say anything. Just looked at him. He kept going. "I lost a lot of respect at work after everything. Transferred to another department. Had to start over. I guess I didn't realize how many people noticed what I did until the whispers started. Anyway, I'm not here to make peace. Just wanted to acknowledge it. And weirdly, I respected that. Not enough to shake his hand. Not enough to say, 'It's all good.' But enough to nod and say, 'Noted.' He didn't linger. Just walked away. And for the rest of the night, I didn't feel angry. Or triggered. Or haunted by it. I felt tall. Taller than the version of me who used to shrink himself to keep peace. Taller than the guy who used to think betrayal was something you could outlogic if you just gave people enough context. And when Naomi found me later, wearing heels and holding a drink with some pink foam on top, she looked at me and smiled. "You okay?" I said. "I think I might be better than that." She kissed my cheek. "Told you were hot, smart, and not a recluse." And for the first time in maybe a year, I believed it. Last Sunday, I got to do something I hadn't done since before the implosion. Nothing. Not productive nothing. Not pretending to relax while secretly planning my week. Nothing. Just real, unstructured, unbothered nothing. I woke up at the beach house, sunlight coming through the blinds like it had an appointment. The ocean was loud but calm, like it had something to say but wasn't in a rush to say it. Naomi was still asleep, wrapped in a blanket on the couch because we'd watched a terrible sci-fi movie and both passed out mid-snark. I made coffee. Sat on the deck. Bare feet on the rail. Mug in hand. And I had this thought, this is what my life is now. And it's exactly enough. No noise. No requests. No secret resentment disguised as friendship. Just enough. Later that morning, I checked the security camera feed, habit at this point, and saw a new notification from 2 days ago. Someone had walked past the beach house, stopped for a long moment, looked up, then kept walking. I zoomed in. Lena. Not knocking. Not trying to get in. Just pausing. Looking at the house like it used to be hers. And in her head? It probably was. I showed Naomi the clip. She didn't react much. Just handed me a piece of toast and said, "Even ghosts take walks." And that stuck with me. Because that's what she is now. A ghost. So is Marwan. So is Kyle. So is everyone who stood behind me until I needed them to stand beside me. You don't need to hate your ghosts. You just stop giving them furniture in your house. I didn't mention it to Lena. I didn't reach out. Didn't craft some poetic text about letting go or forgiveness. I just deleted the video. Then I ate toast on the deck with Naomi, and we argued about whether or not pelicans look smug. They do. Unapologetically. That's what real healing looks like. Not a grand gesture. Not an apology from every direction. Just one quiet morning where you realize you're not surviving anymore. You're living. I sat on the deck tonight alone. Naomi had gone home early, she had a deadline. Rachel had sent me a dumb meme about introverts needing 72 hours of recovery after one dinner. And I'd just finished reading the last page of a novel I'd forgotten I even started. The ocean was loud. Windier than usual. Salt in the air, like it always is, but sweeter somehow. Or maybe that's just what peace smells like when you finally stop chasing storms. I looked around and realized this was it. Not the house. Not the coffee. Not the sunset. This quiet. This stillness. This absolute lack of anything pulling at me, asking, demanding, draining. No one was trying to unlock the gate. No one was calling my mom to check in on me. No one was texting to say I was too harsh, too cold, too hard to love. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was earned. The same friends who once used this house like a summer rental now pass it like a cautionary tale. I've heard the whispers. I know Kyle tells people I went full psycho landlord. Marwan says I changed after the breakup. Lena? Lena hasn't said anything since that last message. I think she finally realized the door wasn't locked because I was bitter. It was locked because I built something that didn't include her anymore. And here's what matters. I didn't build a fortress. I built a boundary. That's the part they never understood. Love isn't about how much you'll tolerate. It's how clearly you draw the lines to protect the things that matter. My time. My space. My peace. The beach house still stands. The rental's still full. My days are simple. My nights are soft. And me? I'm not angry anymore. Not heartbroken. Not even guarded. I'm just whole. For years I was the friend who gave and waited. For what? Gratitude? Loyalty? Some flash of acknowledgement that never came? It's funny how people will line up to celebrate you when you're useful, but vanish the second you ask for anything back. Now? I don't need the crowd. Just a locked door. A warm mug. And a woman who thinks pelicans are secretly judging her. When people ask what happened, I just say, I stopped trying to be everything to everyone. And in the space that left behind, I found myself. That's the story. The house is mine. The silence is mine. And the peace? That's mine too. And no one's getting the gate code again without earning it.